There's one power, and it comes by many different names. People call it many different things, but the one power behind everything is that great generating, creating power. One of the names for it, by the way, is life. And we always start by reminding us that such is the nature of life, the nature of that one power, that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. You're that opportunity. So am I, and so it is. So if you're that opportunity, which I believe you are, then that means who you are and what you are is something very special and very unique. You're a one-of-a-kind being. And however you call yourself, however you self-identify, whatever ethnic group or social group or sexual group or spiritual group or personality group or any other group that you recognize yourself to have affiliation with, all of that simply is the opportunity for spirit to show up as you in a particular way. Therefore, we honor you and we celebrate you. We believe in you and your ability to bring a greater livingness, a greater givingness, and a greater fullness to your life, through your life and out to the world. That's what we're all about here at the Center for Spiritual Living. So as we offer support and ideas and thoughts and inspiration, we bring to you what I hope and what I expect and what I know actually are good ideas. And nothing will change your life more rapidly or more permanently than new good ideas. Because good ideas bring greater livingness to your life, greater fullness, greater freedom, greater joy, all of that. So welcome. I'm very glad you're here. And listen now, if you will, to a bit of our declaration of principle. This is a little more of what we teach and what we believe and why we know what we know. Take a listen. I believe
in one God,
one absolute power and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love
and creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life
and the immortality of the individual soul,
forever unfolding.
I believe
in the eternal goodness,
the eternal goodness of God,
the eternal loving kindness,
and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. For more information about that declaration of principle, you can go to our website, cflmidtown.org, and you'll find more information. You can also sign up for some of our classes and some of our other events through the week, where you begin to not only hear these ideas, but you learn how to put them to work in your life. Right now, we have the joy of having one of our practitioners come forward and share with us. This is Norma Roberts, who is live from sunny St. Petersburg. Welcome, Norma.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Recently I opened a book to begin reading, but before I started to read it, I decided I would read the introduction. I don't usually do that, but I'd like to share this with you. It says, every problem known to man has an answer. Concealed within each problem is an opportunity for spiritual growth, resulting in greater understanding. The problem veils some hidden truth that must eventually be understood. Once this truth is discovered, it is as if a door is opened from within, through which the student steps into a new and larger room. It has been said, where we are tightest, there we need stretching. The law of life is exacting. It provides an uncanny precision. just the growth that each one needs. To us is given a choice. We can struggle with the problem, railing against life for sending it to us, or we can bless the growth that it contains and set about to find the hidden truth that will unlock the door to the perfect solution. It is like a jigsaw puzzle. Once the missing piece is found, the other pieces just will fall into place. The finished picture then emerges. The truth that has seemed to be hidden is eager and willing to reveal itself. Behold, I stand at the door and knock, says the Spirit of truth within. And if any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him. You must remember, you are one with the infinite, source of all, a powerful creator. You are here for the adventure of a lifetime. So I invite you to join me on a spiritual mind treatment just to know the truth. So I invite you just to sit back and relax and join me in knowing. I know there is but one perfect life. That life is God. It is a power and presence for good in the universe. And I am one with that life. I speak my word confidently, knowing that the truth is all there is, proclaiming itself by means of me right now. I totally believe that God is at work to maintain order, justice, and harmony in my life. And I claim it. I claim my right to a life that is safe, peaceful, prosperous, and harmonious. The infinite mind of God sets no limits on his creation. Therefore, I speak and demonstrate the truth in exquisite freedom and ease. I am not created to live within limits, but to be forever exceeding them in joyful and constructive ways. I am a child of God filled with God's life, light, love, peace, power, beauty, and joy. I am command of my life and circumstances. I am guided by the light of God, strengthened by the love of God, and successful through the power of God. Through the Christ within me, I can do all things. Therefore, I meet all challenges easily, effortlessly, and successfully. I am wise. I express myself perfectly, and I succeed in all that I do. The truth of my being is good and include all that I desire and require for total fulfillment, and I demonstrate it now. As my divine inheritance, I embody and accept this good which appears in my world as perfect health, a greater flow of abundant wealth, increased love and self-respect, and unlimited ideas of creative self-expression. Anything in me that may have caused me to believe in separation from my divine self or from the good that is mine is totally uprooted, dissolved, banished, and gone forever. I choose to be rid of the old, worn out, and no longer useful ideas. As I accept the concept of myself that God envisioned as me, it is whole, perfect, and complete in every way. With gratitude, I let go and let mine bring forth an abundance of blessed experiences in my life as a result of speaking my word. And I expect my miracle any day now. I happily let it be so, and so it is. And right now, I invite you to listen to our next song. The title is Amazing Things by Jana Stanfield. Thank
You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings. And with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, you will do amazing things. All the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes and take a breath and smile. Amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing,
Amazing things. You will do amazing things. You have done amazing things, and that will not stop. What will make it all more amazing is the more we pay attention and the more we're able to tap into the wonders of life in the everyday ordinary, as well as the spectacular. I grew up in Florida around a lot of water, mostly swamp, but there was some beach nearby. Not much sand, but there was a beach. There wasn't a Gulf of Mexico. And as an adult, I always thought sailing would be just the best. And sure enough, I had a chance over the years to do that occasionally. And one of those was not long ago in Hawaii, in Honolulu. I visited a friend who was living there at the time, and she booked us on a sailing excursion that was a meetup. And a group of people, about, I guess, 8 or 10, boarded this 50-foot plus sailboat in the harbor out in Honolulu, bringing our hors d'oeuvres and our food to share and our drinks and all of those things that we were going to do to enjoy that sailing experience. And as we motored out of the harbor and into the protected lee of the island, we were all sharing the food and sharing the drink and having a grand time. But then as we got on out into the water further, I noticed the swell starting to pick up. And the captain suggested to all of us to find a good place to hold on, because we were going to be heading into some bigger waves. And especially once we headed on out towards around the end of Diamond Head, the big rock you see in all of the pictures of Honolulu. So I was excited. So I went charging up to my very favorite spot on a sailboat, which is right up front, as close to the front as I could get, where I could still find something to hold on to. And I faced the front of the ship. No, I was not, being held on by anybody else, just holding on the ship. And as we got more and more into the bigger and bigger waves, 10 foot, 15 foot, 20 foot, it got to be quite a ride. Man, the spray was hitting me. I got soaking wet. I didn't care, because it was such a thrill. It was like being on a roller coaster, but on the ground. So I didn't have to deal with the heights part of it. And it was just fabulous. And I was loving every minute of it. And I was shouting and hooting and carrying on and having so much fun. And about in the height of all of that, someone tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to the back of the boat. And I looked and turned around, and other than me and one other person, everybody was losing their hors d'oeuvres and their drinks over the stern into the water, feeding the fish, as they say. And the captain said, we're going to turn around and get out of these heavy waves, because most everybody's pretty miserable. And we did. We turned around and we tooled back into the quieter water, and then we motored in back into the to the wharf to where the boat was moored. And it did not bother my experience, because my experience there was one of absolute joy and wonder. And that's because my outside experience of excitement and joy and movement, and at one point we had dolphins going with us along the side in the water. All of that was such a sense of inner resonance, inner truth, inner beauty that matched what was going on the outside. It was just fabulous. And I loved it, and I wanted more. And I wanted more. See, that connection of the inner and the outer, that connection of experiencing something out in the world that matches who and what we are on the inside, is such a powerful, powerful thing. And it's such a powerful way to see the wonder and to live the wonder of the everyday world. Now, sailing is not an everyday experience for me. Walking is, and many other things. Walking is an interesting thing, because in the everydayness of it, we just do it. We don't think about what do we do? How do we move our muscles? What do we make happen? But walking, when you really look at it carefully, is this amazing faith-driven behavior in which we fall forward. Every step is falling forward. Every step has an element of release in it. and trusting that our foot will get out there in plenty of time to catch us before we fall completely forward. Yeah. And the wonder of that is taking an extra moment when you're walking to realize how amazing it is that you and I do that, and how amazing and wonderful it is. Because in appreciating that, we can also have great compassion for those for whom that's not a possibility, who are other gifted. But when we take it so for granted, because nobody stops to think when you get up and walk around, at least, well, I won't say nobody, many people don't, most people don't, but some have to stop and think. Depending on how long I've been sitting, I have to stop and think in order to get out of a chair sometimes. So the everyday wonder is what we're really talking about. And that's our theme for this year. But today I want to focus on 2 or 3 things that relate to that. One of those is a great Joseph Campbell quote that says, he was being interviewed when he said this, and it's also in his book, but he says, I think we are seeking an experience of being alive. He had been asked, so in all of your studies of myth and the things that people do mythologically and ceremonially and ritualistically to create meaning, is what we're really after is to find meaning in our lives. And that's when Joseph responded with this, I think what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonance within our own innermost being and reality, so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive. That's what wonder is all about. That's what that excitement of wonder, that wonder that goes, wow, what is this all about? It's beautiful, it's fabulous, I notice it. Because in that moment, we feel alive. And the wonder of pounding through those waves and watching the dolphins and feeling the ocean spray and the wind and all of that. I was more alive than I am much of the time, because so much of the time I'm distracted and I'm not paying attention to what matters and what's real for me. You see, this business of life, people say, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to live. What is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to live. It is to bring into our moments the opportunity and the moment of recognizing right here, right now, this is life. And this is my life. Most every Christmas, we in my family, we watch Auntie Mame, the movie, or I guess the movie's name is just Mame, the old Rosalind Russell version of it. I know there have been others, but that's the tradition, and I happen to be the one that holds that tradition. And throughout the movie, she is declaring life is about living. At one point, she actually says, live, 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 and the scene changes to the next thing. She also says in there that life's a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving. She wasn't talking about poverty. She wasn't talking about a poverty of physical self, because she had been in all of those extremes of wealth and poverty. She was talking about a poverty of spirit, a poverty of awareness, a poverty of life. There is so much available to us every moment, all the time. And so often we just don't see it or taste it because we're so caught up in what isn't working, or we're so habituated to numbing out or focusing on someone else's life. See, one of the real keys to being alive, to experiencing aliveness, is that sense of finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. Think about that a second. That's where I pause. The extraordinary in the ordinary. The simple example I already gave of walking, which is such an ordinary thing, and yet it's extraordinary when you look at it and think about it. Sleep is an extraordinary thing. We humans do it, and we do it automatically. And thank goodness we go to sleep and we wake up 8 hours later or 3 hours later or whatever our time frames are, rested. We don't know what we did during that time, other than we assume we stayed where we are. And what's extraordinary about it is in our brains, there are something like 55 different switches that have to be thrown in order for us to go to sleep. Now, we don't go down a checklist because it's done already. It's already embedded in our subconscious mind to take care of that and do it for us and do it as us. And that's extraordinary. It's extraordinary that you as an individual are actually not an individual. You are an organism made up of millions of organisms and systems, without which you, the individual, couldn't survive if you were trying to be alone and by yourself. All of those wonderful, helpful bacteria and moles and all those crazy things in our bodies that we don't even consciously know about or aren't aware of. That's the ordinariness of life, and yet it's an extraordinary, miraculous kind of thing. See, and one of those great systems for learning to recognize the extraordinary and the ordinary is curiosity. Curiosity is transformational. It is the question that invites us to follow the answer, to look for the answer. And in the process of that, we're engaging in motion and movement. And that motion and movement is something that is very important for us to like walking, to keep moving in a direction, in a forwardness. Curiosity is kind of, one of our formational stories in Western theology. It's the story of Adam and Eve in the garden and the miraculous events of that myth, that story. And you all know it well. Adam and Eve had been created and been given responsibility for naming all the animals. So they were given human beings began to experience in that story a responsibility for our world, for our culture, for our physical world. And then in the evening, as was his and it was a he, his practice, God came walking in the garden. My teacher used to say it like Colonel Sanders perambulating through the garden with his cane and white suit. Very definite Southern image. But God came walking through the garden and couldn't find them because they'd eaten of a tree they were told not to, and they were hiding. Adam and Eve were hiding. And God said, "So where are you? Where are you?" I always thought that was an interesting story, because how would God not know where they are? How would life not know where you are? And it occurred to me as I thought about this that the reason for that question wasn't so God could find out where they were, it's so they could find out where they were. Because the answer was, oh, we're embarrassed and ashamed because we realized we're naked, we're exposed. And then they got the great blessing, which was the opportunity to join in the creative process and become co-creators with life. May not be the way you've interpreted the story or heard it interpreted, but it wasn't a great fall. It was a great step up. Out of the garden where we just were kind of glorified pets into a life of creative creation, co-creation, and creation in the very process with God. See, and that's what curiosity does. The questions we ask ourselves, the questions we feel come at us from the world around us, are not because there's no known answer. It's because it helps us figure out where we are and who we are. And in doing so, we can find more wonder and greatness and joy in our lives. You know, the greatest miracle on the planet that anyone knows about, and it's miraculous, it's not a miracle because it's a natural part of life, is this powerful event of the transformation of an idea into a life experience. You get a great idea, you get a great passion for something, and you want to bring it forward and you want to experience it, and boom, there it is. It may not come magically or what appears to be magically, or even may not appear to be miraculous. You may work very hard to bring it into form, into creations. Whatever you're wanting to have be or happen. When I left home at the end of my junior year of high school, I said, you know, I want to experience as much of the world as possible. I want to go where I can go. I want to hear. I want to see. I want to know what it's like for other people to experience life from their perspectives. And I just want to get all of it that I can. And I've done that. It showed up. It showed up in people offering things to me. You want to make this trip? You want to go with me here? Other opportunities where people said, you know, I want to go, but I wonder if you'd take me and go with me. So hence trips to Peru and trips to Bali and other places around the world. And right out of high school, it was the opportunity then to go and live and work for a short time in Appalachia and see what that experience was like for those folks. And then the opportunities later to live in the Northeast, which right now is under a lot of cold snow, I understand. I lived and experienced enough of that to know that I didn't want to live there anymore. I want to get back down here where it's warmer, or supposed to be anyway. So my conscious thought, my idea of experiencing life in as many forms and ways as possible has just continued to create and express and show up. And the way that I've pursued that is by paying attention to what really caught my attention, what really caught my curiosity, and what really caught my joy. What brought me joy? What brings me joy? Music brings me joy. Making music brings me joy and brought me joy, and that was a big part of my first career. And I pursued it as long as it continued to provide me with greater and greater experience. And when it was time to let that go, I moved on to something else because I wanted to understand people on the inside a little better. So I pursued psychology. And then I discovered that the next step in that was spirituality at a deeper, more personal level, a spirituality that looked at spirit as being within, not out there somewhere. Robert Browning has this amazing poem called, just lost the name of the poem. Sorry. Paracelsus. And in that he says that to live and really experience life is not so much about going out there and bringing it in, as it consists of opening the way through which the imprisoned splendor may escape, rather than looking for the light out there to shine inward and somehow fill you up. See, the truth is you're already filled up, and so am I. We're already filled up with light, with life, with all of the gifts that life brings. And what we need, what our task is to open up and allow that splendor to come out by giving it, by sharing it, by experiencing it in the world. And people are drawn to that when they hear how you have manifested, we use that word a lot, brought into form, brought into experience that which you dreamed of and wanted and desired. Folks want to know more about that, or they're just drawn to it and they don't quite know why. See, when you're living out of that core sense of who you are, that core sense of life, by freeing yourself so that it can shine outward, people may not even know why they're so attracted to that, but they are. They will be. It's that practice of curiosity that takes us into that deeper awareness and sense. Yeah. See, and that is intensified and enhanced by your clarity about who you are. This is why in January this year, we've been through the 4 basic talks, the 4 basic ideas from the Science of Mind textbook, those 4 spiritual ideas, that God itself is present everywhere, always, and we live within it, not it being out there somewhere. And that what it does is to give, or to give of itself, to give and constantly give. And the way it works is for us to receive and open ourselves to receiving the inner guidance and the inner recognition, and to receive ideas of possibility and expansion and growth, rather than ideas of lack, limitation, and I can't. We, the Centers for Spiritual Living, envision a world that works for everyone and all creation. And our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Yeah, that's our purpose. And so as we look at where we've come so far this year, we recognize that this great theme of living everyday wonder is our theme for the year. And as we go through the year, we're going to be looking at those kinds of ideas in every area of our life. Yeah. We're going to cultivate a sense of wonder wherever we are, and offer ideas and thoughts for creating that and cultivating that in your life. You know, your everyday experiences of play, of creativity, of emotions, all of your emotions, not just the ones you like. You know, some people really like being angry and some people really don't. But either way, we're going to find that by diving deeply into those emotions and the beliefs behind them, we can restore and expand that sense of everyday wonder. And in that sense of everyday wonder, we recognize that the God that is all is within us. And in being within us, we are free to express it as us. And it is in that recognition and expression that life takes on such richness and such joy and such fulfillment, regardless of what's happening around us. And yeah, there's a lot happening around us these days, which is all the more reason that we need to sink within, and we need to look within, and we need to turn to where the real power is, which is in our own consciousness and in the lives within us. We often say you can know the truth will set you free. And that's capital T, but it's also small t. What's my truth right now? Can I dive into that and look behind it and ask myself the questions that will guide me to a deeper recognition of what really matters? Guru Nanak, who was the founder, the beginning of the Sikh movement, says this. He says, truth is high, but higher still is living truthfully, or truthful living. Higher still is truthful living. In other words, it is wonderful to know these principles, to understand these principles, and to excel in being able to articulate them. But it is greater still to be able to practice them, and to practice them day by day, moment to moment, wonderful experience by wonderful experience, and to, in doing that, transform the ordinary into seeing the extraordinary powers behind it. Next time you sit down to eat a meal, it's the same stuff you probably had once before, and the day before that. But think about the hundreds of people who've participated in putting that on your plate. Hundreds of people. It's extraordinary. Extraordinary what happens. And it's a wonder. You don't have to go out in the backyard, depending on who you are and where you are, and gather it necessarily, although there are many things wonderful about doing that too. I tend to be in a rush most of the time, so I like the fact that I can go pull something out of the freezer when it doesn't all fall on me, or do something quick and easy, and then I recognize. But I take time to recognize how much and how many people went into providing that for me. So here we are, the beginning and the end of January, the beginning of the rest of our year of celebrating and living everyday wonder, of heightening our awareness to really see what is out there for us and what is in here, and how the wonder of what's in here is showing up out there. Next month in February, we're going to look inside. We're going to look more about what is the inner wonder, and how is that developed and recognized and brought forward. So I'm glad you're with us. I invite you to continue to stay with us over the next months and learn what there is to learn. One of the real powers for everyday wonder is to see the beauty, the awe-inspiring beauty everywhere you look. Whether it's the beauty of a leafless tree standing there in the cold waiting for the spring, or the bright colors of the fall, or the greens of the spring, the beauty is always there. So I want to invite you to take a moment now and just turn within. Deep breath, letting it go. Recognizing all the ideas and thoughts and feelings running through you right now. Just noticing. What a miraculous, what an amazing thing that is. That you can close your eyes and transport yourself through your imagination to anywhere and anything. What an amazing thing that you have the power within you to create out of that imagination experiences that match, to find the joy in it all. Because you are wonderful. So am I. And so it is. Nice deep breath. Now let's hear from Vance.
Thanks, Dr. Bob, for that awesome talk today. And now it's time for our affirmation of prosperity and our time to give. So you can donate to us at www.cslmidtown.org/donate or click on the QR code that's on your screen. Now, I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And now, on to announcements.
So thank you for joining us and being with us today. We look forward to more from you. If you'd like, join us right after this on our Zoom space, and we will have some conversation. So until then, know this with me. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is.